Bonjour et bienvenue sur ma chaîne. Today I will give you my full roadmap to go from A1 to C1 in less than a year in French. A few years ago, I started to learn French from zero. Then it was COVID and I couldn't go to classes, but my passion for French continued, so I decided to study French by myself. And it was the best decision I've made because last year I took the DALF C1 and I passed it. So as me, I know that there's a lot of people that also want to learn French and don't spend a lot of money in expensive courses they can afford. Therefore, in this video, I am going to give you all the textbooks, objective courses, and websites to learn French from each level. So first, I'm going to start by giving the resources that could serve you in every level of French that you have now. For example, for grammar, the best resource that I recommend is Lingolia, for vocabulary to the Sang Monde, and also LingQ. Lingolia is a website that has a lot of exercises from A1 to C1. Divisan Monde is a platform that contains native speaker content. Therefore, you can watch news and also interesting videos while doing exercises into their platform. And finally, LingQ is the best resource if you want to see your favorite series and search the words that you don't know within seconds because it tracks their dialogues and it is super easy to find them. We can start focusing in each level, and here I will give you one website, textbooks, and also a full YouTube course that could help you a lot to advance and progress rapidly in French. First, we have A1. For A1, you need an average from 80 to 100 hours. So here, what I recommend you to do is to start slow by focusing in the pronunciation. If you are able to have a good pronunciation, it will be easier to make you comprehensible to others and also make your French more understandable as well. So here the best website that I know, it's called the French Experiment, and it has both audio and written lessons in one, so you are going to be able to write the vocabulary that you don't know that you want to learn, and also learn their pronunciation because it has audios with it. Then as a textbook, I really recommend you to get Cosmopolite A1 for the A1 level. And also there's another really popular textbook that it's called Le Français par la méthode nature. And a thing that I found is that it has its own audiobook, so you can hear and comprehend more about the vocabulary that is also immersed in content within the book. And it is really cool, this book. I really recommend it. Finally, the best YouTube course that you can do in this level, it is the one from School TV, and it is called Learning French in 2 months, and it is made by a great French professor that it is really well known in the internet for you to get started if you don't like that much to learn with textbooks. Then we have the A2 level. Here you will need an average from 180 hours to 200 hours. And what's important here is to keep consistent. So one website that can be really useful for you is Flawless French. And here you will find all the grammar and topics necessary for this level. Also, a very good YouTube course that I found, it is from the NLF Academy and it is called the Full A2 Road. And it is a playlist. It is great to learn the grammar and vocabulary if you're an auditive person and you like to learn more with YouTube videos. Finally, the best textbook that you can find is called Grammaire progressive du français niveau débutant, that is from Claire International. And it is great if you are thinking of preparing for an A2 certification exam because it is a well-recognized institution. Now we can pass with the B1 and B2 levels. To go from 0 to B1, you are going to need an average of 300 to 400 hours. So it takes a little bit, well, a lot of time, I know, but you can do it in less than 5 months if I am realistic. You can do it by far less. And what you need is to stick with good resources. Personally, I found that in this specific level, a good resource that you can find is the RFI Savoir. And here, this platform contains over 1,000 of clicks and audios, exercises, and also full transcripts with them. And it is very useful if you want to enrich your vocabulary, as it is the most important thing you can do if you want to become fluent rapidly. Also, a very good YouTube course that I found for this specific level is the French for Intermediate Learners from Easy French, and it is a full dedicated B1 course. Also, another one that can be really useful for you if you want a more formal course is the one from Lingoni French, and she is a professor who has a lot of courses, and specifically the B1 course is the best that I found so far. Now that we have come up to the B2 level, which is one of the most difficult that I found personally, because it takes a lot of time, an average from 600 to 650 hours to go from 0 to this. And also the thing in this level is that you have to demonstrate that you have enough vocabulary and a very good grammar to have fluent conversations in despite of not knowing all, obviously. For this level specifically, I found and I used a website that it is really interesting. It has a lot of stories in French and exercises with it. It is called Fabulang, and I recommend you to enhance your vocabulary through active reading. Also, a very good YouTube course that I found, as I mentioned before, is a Lingoni French YouTube course that has all the topics from B2. But if you want one that is more compact, there's also one that goes from A1 to B2, and it is a full YouTube playlist with all the contents that you need from 0 to go full in B2. It is from French with Talent, a great professor as well. Finally, if you want another textbook for both B1 and B2 levels, I recommend you the series from Claire International, and this is called Grammaire progressive du français niveau intermédiaire. And it is great if you want to certificate yourself with a DALF B2. Finally, we have the C1 level. As I said, you have to demonstrate that you are a really proficient and you can talk fluently to everyone. Also, here you have to understand the implicit contents from the text you read, and also be able to read more complex texts like news and articles, and also scientific texts. So it is great that you have come up so far in the video. And the best resources, as I mentioned in the beginning, for this level specifically are Lingolia and TV Mundo. I used both of them as they provided the grammar and vocabulary I needed for the exam. And as I wasn't really into textbooks in that time because I was very young and a little bit lazy to start one, I only used these free websites, and they were the best for me because thanks to them I passed the DALF C1. I am very grateful because you don't only need those websites and like start studying grammar every day, but also consume a lot of content in French. So that is why I am going to recommend you the following channels. First, if you want a formal course specifically for C1, there's a really big playlist from a YouTuber that is called French Comprehensible Outbooks C1, and it is great because he tells about C1 topics so you can understand them and catch that C1 vocabulary that you need. In this and every level, you need to find YouTube channels and content that is interesting to you. For example, native channels that I really recommend you and that I really liked is Danielle Studio, and she's a content creator along with her grandson, and they do a lot of funny videos and they speak in their native language. Therefore, it is a little bit difficult to understand them. However, it is great that you start to train your ear to familiarize with accents that are not so formal or so easy to track. Another YouTube channel that I like a lot is Hugo de Egypt, because he talks about news and international controversies, and it is really interesting, and he talks also fluently. And when you are preparing for a certification exam, you must get to know those topics that are political, financial, environmental, and those topics are going to appear in a lot of audios that can be present in your exams. Finally, the best textbook that I can recommend here is the Grammaire progressive du français niveau avancé, and it is also from Claire International. I really recommend it because it can help you a lot to prepare for the DALF C1 or even DALF C2. This book is for both C1 and C2, so it is great. And that's everything. Those are the best resources that I found that are completely free. You can find all these books for free online, and also the websites are completely free, as well as the YouTube courses. So here you have the full roadmap for free to learn French from A1 to C1. I really hope that you liked this video. So if you did, please hit the like button and the subscribe one. And if you want to know how I passed the DALF C1, here I have a video talking about it. Merci et à bientôt.